Hi, friends, and welcome to another episode of Tuesday Tea Time with Sahdi and Omni, where we spill the tea and drink the tea on our weekly spiritual practices. I'm Omni.
And I'm Sahdi.
And today's episode is all about retrogrades. We're going to go over Mercury retrograde and Venus retrograde and go over some do's and don'ts and some rituals to help you through them and retro shade to do with both of them. Sahdi, you want to get us started?
I've had times when it's been retrograde and I've had complete meltdowns.
Yeah.
And it just feels like life is coming at me from all different directions and I can't handle it.
Same.
Like I've had times in retrograde where I cannot stop crying and I can't handle it. And then I reach out to social media or to my friends or whatever. And I'm like, what is going on? I don't know why I can't stop crying, or everything just seems like it's coming at me from all different angles. And I go to my spiritual groups and they're like, oh yeah, because we're in retrograde. It's Venus or it's Mercury or
Mercury's
like whatever.
The reverse cowgirl again.
Right, exactly. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, that makes sense. But when I go deeper into it, there's always spiritual lessons that I learn from retrograde. And there are so many mistakes that I've made over the years during retrogrades that has brought me to the epiphany of it's really a time for reflection. And it's a time to really sit your ass down and stay home and reflect if you can.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we have to go to work and there are things that we have to do.
Well, you know, that one time when I was having all the electronical problems trying to post one of our episodes, I was trying to post one of our tea times, post one of our Lionsgate within the same day. It landed on the same day. And I ran into every single problem that I have never ran into. And I had to end up posting a day late. And I was so stressed out about it. I was like, I don't even understand why everything. And then our friend Sass goes, well, yeah, we're in retrograde right now. And that messes with electronics.
And technology and things like
that. Yeah. And I was like, son of a gun. Yes, we are.
And a lot of people get a lot of anxiety spikes as well during retrograde. And people feel like edgy and irritable and overwhelmed by little things.
Yeah.
And that's because Mercury is tied to the nervous system. And it literally rules the signals in your brain and body.
Oh, I didn't know that part.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when it retrogrades, these signals get messy. So when you find yourself snapping at the person making your coffee for getting the order wrong or whatever, just remember it's not their fault. It's literally retrograde.
Yeah. Also, don't be a bitch to serve
So it's basically teaching you know, you got to step back. You have to breathe. You have to recalibrate your nervous system and also limit your caffeine and alcohol during that time.
Boo.
I know. But trust me, your nervous system will thank you. And start grounding yourself, taking bath, crystals.
Yeah, I also got cleanse your space and energy. So that's a good time. You said sit your ass at home.
Yeah.
Be at home and clean your space is a great time to reset. Do smoke cleansing or sage. I like Palo Santo or incense to clear out the stagnant energy. Salt in your bath. I always do Epsom salt baths. Lavender is really great. What I like to do is I clean with essential oils. If I feel like I really need to clean my energy, I'll use pine or sage or rosemary and wipe all my counters down. Even my couch, just get a rag, wet it down, put a little of those in. And then if your space feels clutter, that is the time to clear out old and organize stuff if needed.
Yeah. If you use the retrograde for what it's for, everything will start falling into place. Like you were talking about, like everything technical, what's going wrong, because Mercury rules communication, technology, and travel. So not only technology, but you can expect delays, misunderstandings, everything's glitching. But instead of freaking out, you're supposed to be taking the hint. It's the universe telling you, stop trying to move at full speed. You need to reread that contract. You need to recheck this. You need to maybe wait a day or two.
Get crystals involved. Get a clear quartz crystal and keep it near your phone and laptop to minimize the glitches.
Yeah.
And if you're traveling, triple check your plans.
Yep, exactly.
Leave extra time for delays and maybe a quick visualization of smooth, hassle-free travel.
Yep. Talking about traveling, also have backup plans. Expect the delays. I notice buying plane tickets, if I buy them during retrograde, something always happens.
Oh, shit. I never thought about that.
No big purchases during retrograde. Because if you do, you should expect delays, lost luggage, random roadblocks and stuff like that. Also, contracts as well. Contracts are a big thing. During retrograde, it's okay to start looking for a new job or a new career or something like that. You're supposed to be reflecting, be like, okay, what is my next step? What is my next choice? It's okay to reflect on that and start making the behind the scenes moves in that direction. But don't sign any major contracts. Don't go out and get that new job. Sign your life away on it or whatever, because you're going to regret it later.
Yeah.
If you do. New leases, buying a new house, purchasing a new car, anything that has to do with signing a contract, don't do it.
Yeah.
And if you do, really read the fine line.
Yeah.
Over and over and over and over again. And just make extra sure that you're reading everything correctly, or just wait.
Well, yeah, not only with contracts, but because it rules communication, it messes with communication. You have to just keep in mind that things can get a little messy. Like texts will get misread, emails get lost, words get misunderstood. So to help with this, you can try carrying a blue lace agate, an aquamarine crystal, which are known for enhancing clear communication. If you have an important conversation coming up, write down your thoughts beforehand and consider using an affirmation like, I communicate with clarity and compassion. If that's a conversation that has to happen during retrograde.
Right.
If not, put it off.
Yeah, if you can put something off, do it during retrograde, because it's a divine pause.
Yeah.
What you're really supposed to be doing, you're not supposed to be out in the clubs, because bad things can happen. I've noticed, for me personally, and I've seen this a lot with other people, is that you start to get irritated with being at home. You feel like you have to get out. You feel like you have to do something. And so you put yourself out there and bad things happen. And then you're like, oh, retrograde. It's because you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, and you're not taking that divine pause, and you're not reflecting and doing all those things that you're supposed to be doing during this time. The universe is like, okay, you're grounded for a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Take this time to do what you're supposed to be doing, and then go out and play.
Yeah. Go clean your room.
Right. It's like you buy a new car, you're going to have mechanical issues down the line. Buying a new house, surprise, foundation problems.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or you're booking a flight, there's going to be cancellations and lost luggage and all that. Once you understand the process and what retrograde is actually there for, you can use it to your benefit.
Yeah.
It's not as scary as everybody else thinks. Like, oh my God, we're coming into a retrograde and all this horrible shit's going to happen to me. It doesn't necessarily have to, if you know the rules of retrograde. So that's why I'm really glad we're doing this tea time, to tell everybody there's nothing to be afraid of.
Yeah. You don't even know what game you're playing. Of course, you're going to
Right. And if you're a magician or an alchemist, it's a cheat code.
Yeah.
It's literally a cheat code, and it's chaos magic. For those who overstand the assignment, Mercury retrograde is a powerful time for things like revisiting your goals. Fix what's not working in your life, right? Spiritual reflection, sit with your past and meditate and ask things like, what is this retrograde trying to show me? And it's also a time to recharge your energy, because moving too fast is never good for extended periods of time.
Right.
Right.
I fall into that.
Yes. And so you can take retrograde. Oh, it's retrograde. I get to take a divine pause, and I get to take a step back and slow down.
Yeah. And it's a good time to work on unresolved emotions. Journaling is huge. It brings clarity so you know how to move on. And then when Mercury goes out of reverse, cowgirl,
right,
then you can go back to being busy and all your obstacles are removed because you've worked through them.
And I like to do tarot a lot during retrograde. I pull some tarot cards, and I like to do shadow work with tarot. And I like to ask spirit to reveal truths that I've been avoiding.
That's good.
You know, because we get busy, you know, and we're going through that. So when I do get that downtime, I ask spirit, what am I missing? What have I not been seeing about myself that I really need to work on? And it's crazy sometimes, the things that I'm just like, holy shit, I didn't even realize that.
Yeah. I didn't know I was supposed to be working on that, but it makes sense.
Yeah. So this isn't the time to force anything. It's a time to listen and observe and flow.
And it's a time that you can work on protecting your energy, because it does bring in a lot of chaotic energy. So protection is key. You can light a black candle and it can help shield you from miscommunications and negativity. Obsidian, hematite or smoky quartz are great for grounding. So you can do some grounding exercises while you're at home, meditating, reflecting.
Yep.
And dabbing a little lavender or frankincense oil onto your throat chakra can help keep your words clear and intentional.
Yep. So if retrograde is making your life feel chaotic, it's probably because you're resisting the lesson. Instead of fighting it, you should try to embrace it
Yeah.
and take a pause, reflect before you react, and look at it as a test. And it's funny too, because once you realize this, you're going to look around at everybody around you and they're going to be getting in arguments, losing their phones, wondering why all this shit's happening to them. And you're just over there like, like I'm at peace.
Yeah.
I'm meditating. I'm doing my shadow work.
Yeah.
I'm sipping my tea. My life is okay.
Yeah.
Like I'm just like learning my lessons over here
Yeah.
and like vibing with the flow of life and the universe. And I'm just learning my lessons.
Yeah. And they're all
Yeah.
going to be
And they're all
irritated.
like,
Can't find my phone.
right.
Yeah.
Why is my ex calling me again?
Oh, yeah,
This
fuck
motherfucker.
that.
Right. And that can happen too.
Yep.
Let's talk about Venus.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Because there are a numerous amount of retrogrades, but I mostly deal with Mercury and Venus.
I would assume that everyone talks about Mercury retrograde.
Right.
Because I think it affects a lot of people.
But Venus too.
Venus, this period is all about love, beauty, and your personal values. It's a time to reassess what truly matters to you in relationships and in life.
For me, I look at it as the universe is forcing you to really look at your relationships, whether it's like romantic or financial relationships or your relationship with yourself. And asking yourself, are you really happy or are you lying to yourself? A mirror is put up to your face and you're forced to ask yourself that question.
Yeah.
This is when exes pop up.
Boo.
Right. And it's not always for good reasons, good intentions. Sometimes old friendships or a past boss that you had or something like that. Sometimes it's just to show you how far you've grown.
Yes.
Like what you've outgrown.
Or maybe it is an ex that's popping back up and you're being tested to see how much you have learned from your past.
And money gets weird. So you got to watch your spending. Don't make any big financial decisions during that time. And romantic reality checks happen a lot. So if you're in a relationship that's kind of built on illusions, you should expect that during this time, truth is going to hit you hard.
Yeah.
Something's going to happen. You're going to catch them cheating. Your worst fear, whatever you think could be going on that you're trying to put a blind eye to, it's going to reveal itself. You can't hide from it.
I think a good way to not be blindsided is also journaling during this time, but focus your journaling more on ask yourself what patterns you'd like to change. Focus on cultivating self-love through affirmations like I am worthy of love and respect.
Right.
And when you're spending your energy and time on that, this retrograde won't try to test you because you're already peeling back those layers and learning those lessons.
Yeah, it's like less about don't do this and don't do that. It's more about be honest with yourself.
Yes.
About what's real and what's not.
And it's a great time to cultivate self-care rituals. So Venus is ruled by beauty and pleasure. So indulge in some self-care, whether it's treating yourself to a spa day at home, taking a long relaxing bath with rose-scented products, or simple meditation of your self-worth. Use this time to nurture your inner or outer beauty. Take a class. Really just focus on mind, body, spirit, but also this is a phrase that just came to me recently, that discipline is the most strongest form of self-love. And I never looked at it that way. But self-care isn't always about roses and sunshine. Sometimes it's hard. Sometimes it hurts. Working out, putting yourself first. And I think this is a good time to really set out your plans for that so that when Venus goes out of retrograde, you have a strong ironclad plan on improving yourself, inner and outer.
So yeah, I think that's all I have to say about Venus. But there is something else that I want to talk about with the Mercury retrograde.
Oh, okay.
Have you ever heard of the retro shade?
No, but it sounds scandalous.
Retro shade is the shadow period after retrograde. It's where everything starts moving forward again, but it's not before the universe gives you a final pop quiz.
Oh, shit.
So the spiritual hangover after the weeks of chaos.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's like not over yet. It's like,
but wait, there's more.
exactly. It's a period of time where things start to reveal themselves.
Hmm.
So that contract that you almost signed, now the red flags are suddenly obvious.
Oh, okay.
So that argument during retrograde, now you're realizing what was actually being miscommunicated.
Mm.
That ex that slid into your DMs, they're still trash.
Yeah.
The
Amen.
illusion has lifted.
Yeah.
Right? Think of retrograde as the storm, and it stirred everything up and
Mhm.
threw things out of place, and it forced you to revisit and review and reflect. And now the retro shade is where the clouds start to clear and you see what's left.
Okay. Okay.
So lessons get solidified where you can go back and be like, okay, what did I learn? It gives you a last chance to integrate those lessons before moving forward.
Okay. Yeah. So if you're not in the know necessarily, or you've kind of forget it's retrograde, and then you're like, oh, it was
Yeah.
retrograde. That's it.
Right. And if you ignore it, you'll just be back in the same cycle next time.
Yeah. And we talked about cycles.
Yep.
So
I'll see you next retrograde.
the favorite saying that you always say is that the universe is a patient teacher.
Yes,
I love
it really
that.
is. And then the truth comes to light. And so during that time of retrograde where everything was like confusing, it all starts to clear up. All the hidden details below the surface and all the misunderstandings, everything starts to get resolved. Everything starts making sense.
Yeah.
And then energy starts to shift back. So you can start making moves again.
Yes.
Start making those plane tickets
Yes.
and
It's my favorite part.
signing those contracts slowly. So what you can do during retro shade is you can start reflecting on the past weeks,
Mhm.
what patterns showed up, what triggered you, what lessons hit the hardest. So you don't have to repeat the same patterns. So
Yeah.
it's a grace period afterwards, reflect. And then you can apply what you learned. If it exposed something like toxic habits or emotional baggage or anything like that, don't ignore it. It's like, oh, retrograde's over. I can finally breathe again.
Mhm.
And then you just ignore it and forget about it. Don't do that. Take action on what needs fixing and fix it.
Yeah.
Now that you can kind of breathe and you're out of that.
That storm.
Just start paying attention to synchronicities during that time. Retro shade brings final confirmations.
Yes.
So the signs will be really loud during that time.
And not everybody likes to journal, but when you do journal, you have a reference point to look back on.
Yes. That's why journaling is so important,
Yeah.
because you're going through all this chaos and you're in retrograde,
Mhm.
like you've been saying this whole time. And then when all that is cleared away, you can go back and you can be like, oh shit. Because it's so easy to forget.
It is.
I mean, I just been through chaos over the last 30 days.
Yeah, for real.
Ask me to tell you what happened to me 3 weeks ago on a Tuesday. I probably wouldn't be able to tell you.
Yeah.
Because everything's so jumbled together in chaotic energy.
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't be able to. So I probably should have been journaling.
A good tip is if you don't like to hand and pen and you don't like to type, you can do voice clips to yourself on what's going on and then re-listen to them, and you can journal that way. So it doesn't always have to be written if you don't like to write or type. It's just a reference point for you to look back on and reflect, and it's such an amazing tool to utilize.
And everything is like a test. It's like, okay, you survived it, but did you learn anything?
There's a TikTok trend going around that where girls are saying the thing is that I didn't heal. I just kept going. I feel that, where you don't heal, you just keep going. But you're going to keep going through those things until you do the healing, until you do learn the lesson and you do understand the assignment.
Yeah, exactly. I think everybody's guilty of this. I have been through a lot in my life, and I said, well, I've gotten through it.
Yep. But what did you learn?
No, I put distance and time and space in between the pain and now. I got away from it, but I never fully processed it. And that's why I'm going back now, years later, and doing shadow work on those parts of myself that I never really healed from.
Yeah.
Because I just kept going, I have life. I have kids. I have things that I have to do.
Yeah.
I don't have time for that shit.
Yeah. And we've talked about if you don't heal those things, they manifest physically in your body.
So take this retrograde, the next retrograde that comes into your life, and try to use it as a gift instead of a curse.
Yeah, exactly.
And with any of your spare time, if you don't have to go somewhere, don't go. If you don't have to do something, don't do it. Stay your ass at home.
Don't be a people pleaser.
If you can, rest as much as possible too. You're not supposed to be on go mode during retrograde.
I feel like you're talking directly to me.
Right.
Stop moving Omni.
No major purchases, no contracts, no starting new relationships. Just don't. Don't, Omni. Just
I'm not starting
now I'm
no
talking
relationships
now I'm talking
ever.
directly to you. No taking your exes back
Oh, never.
just to see how far you've grown or any of that bullshit. Okay, just don't. That new person that seems perfect, fucking wait until Mercury goes direct, okay?
Okay.
If they're still solid, then you know it's real, okay? Like,
Yeah.
if they're real, they can wait 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay?
Fuckers.
Right. No impulsive reactions. You don't have to address that right now. Somebody pisses you off on social media, you don't have to say something back to them. Chill, meditate, journal. Mercury is testing your ability to pause before popping off. You don't have to fight somebody. You don't have to verbally attack somebody. You don't have to text somebody back in all caps, okay? Like, let it go.
Say that to me with a capital letter to my face.
Right. No traveling without a backup plan. Overstand the assignment.
Yes.
Be good to yourself.
Go into it prepared.
Yes. Be prepared this time. They're coming into it and watch what happens.
Yes.
Use it as a gift and be an alchemist.
Yeah.
Be a fucking magician. Be a badass and come out of it stronger and more powerful. And don't let it throw you around because it will. It'll fucking manhandle you.
Yeah. Stand in the eye of the storm.
Yeah. It'll have you on your floor in a puddle having a complete meltdown. It will. And things are going to go wrong. They're going to throw curveballs at you.
Yeah.
Retrograde is going to try to test you. Things are going to happen and you're going to be stressed out. Just prepare for it.
Yeah.
All right. I love you guys.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
Okay.
Have a safe retrograde.
All right. That's all the tea we have to spill for this week's episode. And as always, remember to keep your minds open.
Namaste, bitches.